Adam Kreek and Jordan Hanssen, our guests. They are part of a crew sailing around Vancouver Island. Tell me about the route exactly. You're leaving the rowing club at what time today?
At around 12:30, we'll be launching from the Vancouver Rowing Club, and then we'll head up the Inside Passage. We've got some plans to to really check out the beautiful topography that exists there. And when we get up to Campbell River, we're actually meeting up with a friend of mine who's an artist, and she's in her mid-60s, and as soon as she heard that we were rowing around Vancouver Island, she wanted to come on the boat with us and get inspired, because she knew that you need to have unique experiences to create unique art. So she'll be coming on our boat for 24 to 36 hours as we row through the tight Inside Passage, where there's the big mountains and the dramatic drops.
And recording.
Yeah, she'll be drawing and sketching. And
how fabulous. What's her name?
Her name is Wendy Wacko.
I know Wendy Wacko.
You know Wendy Wacko?
Of course.
Yeah, she owns the art galleries in Jasper, Banff, and Whistler.
Yes, because guess who used to live in Jasper?
You.
Wait.
Look at you.
And the Wackos had the theater.
Yes, they still have the theater.
Yes, they still have the theater.
They still have the theater.
The Jabba.
The Jabba Theater.
One little theater in Jasper, don't you know? Oh, Wendy Wacko.
So,
how great. Sure, she skied for us at Marmot. We used to run Marmot Basin many moons ago. See what you
Small
find
world.
out on live television?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to this, because you're leaving at 12:30, so Inside Passage, pick up Wendy in Campbell River.
Yeah.
Where does she sleep? Like, how big
she doesn't
is
want
this
to
small
sleep.
boat?
I was talking to her the other day. We haven't actually had this conversation, but we had kind of a lot of siloed work that has had to happen. But Wendy said she didn't want to sleep. I said, but
well, she can manage that.
But if she has to sleep, there's a compartment, and she can squeeze in between two large men.
Yeah, it'll be about half the size of this table.
And anybody snore, or do you know yet?
I snore.
Me too. I think so.
You probably all do.
Yeah,
my sense.
It won't matter that much. I
don't think so.
You'll be so
we'll sleep
tired.
like champs. Yeah.
And so fueling yourselves along the way and hydrating yourselves, all of that really important, as I know.
Yes.
What else?
Communication is really important when we're out there, because that's one of the goals of the event. That's obviously we have the physical challenge that's associated with it, but we also want to share the great outdoors with as many people as possible. And we'll be visiting some parts of Vancouver Vancouver Island that not many people get to visit. But when we row across the Atlantic Ocean this December, we'll be in places of the earth that most people will never get to see in their life. So it's really our desire to communicate what we're seeing out there, what sort of wildlife we see, what are the states of the waters, and just really communicate and inspire people to think about that 70% of the planet that isn't land, that 70% of the planet that's water.
And an ocean rowboat is, I think, one of the most unique platforms that you can do this, because you are so close to the water, and you have to go slow. It only really has one speed. And because of that, it's like taking a walk versus going on a run. You end up seeing so much more, and because of that, we can stop and document that. We have all the tools to do that, have the communications to bring it all back.
And any sea creature that's really upsetting to you? I mean, a big gray or something? Or are you bigger than all of them?
I hope to see the big grays. Well, the big grays will be migrating when we go down the west coast. So the hope is to actually get close to some of them. The orcas will be out. I'm very confident in the boat and how stable and secure it is. I couldn't imagine it having too much issue with, a whale could bump it around. But the boat is actually made so that it will self-right. So even if it flips over, it will re-roll.
And this is sounding like a really girly question. Do you wear life jackets?
Yeah, life jackets, and we have lines on the boat that we attach to. So we're clipped in via our life vests directly to the boat.
Good.
And we have survival suits, we have dry suits. I mean, there's enough safety equipment on that boat to fill a 60-foot yacht.
Okay, and if somebody's injured, you have a sub? Somebody,
well, actually,
somebody who can fly in, or?
Well, funny you should mention that, because the rower that's leaving Vancouver with us is a guy named Marcus Buchanan, who is a documentary filmmaker and a firefighter. And he's filling in for Greg, just because Greg couldn't get away from work for the time that it'll take to go around the island. And so part of our plan is that we're rowing up the Inside Passage, is to switch out Marcus and Greg at Port Hardy, so that the four guys that are going across the ocean get the benefit of being on the West Coast together, which is, I mean, really what we could potentially see on the, between Port Hardy and south of the Brooks Peninsula could be more intense than anything we see across the Atlantic.
Of course.
Yeah.
Is there a rescue vessel at the ready?
Yeah, we've got there's a local towing company called Sea Tow, C-Tow, and they've offered their services up free of charge whenever and wherever we are. And they have access to, they've got docks all over the island, and they're there in case any boats have issues. They zoom out and they pick them up, whether they're pleasure craft or commercial craft. So that's our emergency plan. Worst case scenario, the Coast Guard and helicopters. But we'll be planning weather and we'll be looking at that. We're working with the University of Washington. We have a whole class of oceanographers who will be watching us.
And you know not to pocket dial 911.
Yes.
Yep.
What about entertainment on the downtime?
I think
Got
singing,
the violinist on
the violin, you got the mandolin,
music.
singing of sea shanties. There's always stuff to do. A boat keeps you busy, even when you're, when you're not sleeping. There's always a little something to do.
But the four of you have not rowed together before, right? All together.
We've done a few short training cruises, but
But you know what happens when men get together for the long haul?
No, I don't
So,
know.
well-
Tell me what happened.
Yeah, Fanny.
Sometimes
When men
everybody-
and Fanny get together
You
for
know
the
what
long
I
haul.
mean? Well, on any team effort, and you know this, there's there can be a pain in the neck.
Oh yeah. Well,
Someone who doesn't, not a team player.
And that's
not
the thing is,
there,
that's
not
one-
pulling his weight.
I have full confidence that every single person is going to pull their weight.
Except Jordan.
Except
He's
for me.
lazy.
They will pull
This
my weight
lazy guy.
around.
Well, what people don't know about your history is that you cycled through Tasmania or something. Like, you have a history of adventure, right?
A little bit here and there.
Really? One day you got to get a day job,
Why?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why?
Men just have fun. Canadian Wildlife Federation, great cause.
Yeah.
And this time it's marine.
Yeah, it's rivers to
marine
oceans.
wildlife and rivers and oceans and.
Well, there's one thing.
plankton and
Because one of the things that
sardines.
one of the things we have associated with this is we want to get kids under 19 out into nature creating art.
You bet.
And if they create art, they can submit that through the gettoknow.ca website. And everything that's about rivers or oceans, it's in support of the Canadian Wildlife Federation Rivers to Oceans Week, and the person who has who's selected as the best piece of art, they'll actually win a trip to Sydney, BC, to go whale watching and and hang out by. Hang out by the ocean.
And by art, you mean music, photography,
Writing, poetry.
oils,
I think-
writing poetry, any kind of art, any kind of culture.
And the whole concept behind that is just that when you interact, that when you create art from inspiration from nature, you become a part of it, and you can claim a piece of that, and you just interacting with it a lot more, and you're getting to know that area.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when it becomes a piece of you, you want to protect it, and
You bet.
it's important for us to be good stewards of the environment.
You got that right. The Salish Sea Expedition will end when, do we know?
Unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
near
mystery.
Yeah.
Because you are going to go
Yeah.
to the Shaw Centre at some point, the Discovery Centre.
Yeah, Shaw Ocean Discovery Center over in Sydney, BC. We'll be stopping by after we come around the island. That'll probably be near the end of April.
Okay.
April 20.
Well, it's hard to predict, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's
weather
totally,
and-
and that's the whole thing. Is that April is a very challenging month to do this in. So, not only do we have some of the most complex currents in the world, but April is just could be anything.
And the small rowboat is named after whom?
It's named after my father.
Really?
So,
How lovely.
Yeah. So my dad died of asthma when I was 3, and for the last trip, the 3 guys got together and they said that we should name the boat after my dad. And so that's how I got the name.
It's a great name, a strong name. You'll be fine.
We'll be good.
Yeah, say hi to
Yeah.
Wendy.
I will say hi to Wendy. I'll let her know
Nice
that.
to see you.
Yeah, that we chatted.
Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you, for sure, for sure. Adam Kreek and Jordan Hanssen, and for information on the CWF Salish Sea Expedition and CWF Get to Know contest, gettoknow.org, and they're on their way to meet with Johanna Ward and launch at the rowing club at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Vancouver Rowing Club. Come on down if
Well,
you're interested.
You better get out of here.
Yeah.